This is a sculpture depicting Anne, Mary and Jesus from Santiago de Compostela. Heritage with religious or spiritual associations represent an important category of all tangible and intangible heritage produced, including sculptures, paintings, buildings, but also clothing, jewelry, music, and food filled with stories and beliefs.
Hi and welcome. My name is Trilce Navarrete, and in this video we will present cultural heritage knowledge as a socially constructed common from the Museum Katerijnenconvent in Utrecht. The museum holds a collection of Christian heritage with high cultural and historic value because of its beauty, the stories related to it, and its meaning. Through its collection, the museum reflects on the influence Christianity and religion in general has had on society, on its culture and its history. The museum acts as a knowledge center concerning religious arts and as open space to discuss diverse interpretations and experiences related to Christianity, religion and society. A perfect setting to talk about socially constructed commons. But before we get there, let's review some concepts relevant to museum collections. In economics, goods can be categorized by their characteristics of rivalry and exclusivity. Imagine I purchase a painting and hang it at home. I can exclude who views it and limit others from enjoying it. I decide when to resell it. If I give the painting to a museum, anybody who pays an entrance fee will be able to enjoy it without taking enjoyment away from others. If the museum publishes the paintings as open data online, anybody could have access to it for free anytime from anywhere without lowering anybody's enjoyment. And then we have the goods that are non-excludable but rival. The textbook example is a common pool resource such as trees in a forest, which we all can enjoy, but too much cutting can lead to deforestation, or the fish in a lake, which can disappear when we eat too many at a time. These types of goods require management and protection in order to be sustained. This is the case of our cultural and scientific heritage, and here is why. Physical heritage, either movable objects or heritage sites, require investment for its maintenance and protection. We all know that, and that is why many objects are trusted to museums. But museums have limited resources. Decisions have to be made regarding what paintings are preserved, exhibited, digitized, and researched. Too much attention to one painting will invariably leave others marginalized, and too much neglect eventually leads to decay. For pieces that are unique, this is rather catastrophic. There is something else. Museums use objects to convey a message and tell a story through exhibitions. In that sense, museum objects are information carriers. They carry a special type of information. It is unique and irreplaceable, highly diverse and extremely rich in scope. This is our cultural and scientific heritage. In a way, that is the intangible side of our heritage that cannot be denied from its tangible side. Each museum has a series of objects to tell one piece of a story from a particular perspective. Museums lend and borrow objects which are part of a network of objects that tell a story of our past. Additional research and additional objects joining the Heritage Information Network eventually allow a more complete story to be told. Whereas the value of a network increases with the number of people using it, so the value of our cultural and scientific heritage information network increases as more objects and stories are connected with one another. Information depends on technology for transferring its content. Unless we are face-to-face, you need a device to hear my story. Just as museum objects serve as technology to carry information from other places and other times. From an economic perspective, investing in technology allows firms to transform their resources and generate additional value. So museums that invest in their information network can only generate value when these objects and stories can be read or experienced in order to complete the transfer of information to the consumer. And when tapping into the Global Heritage Information Network, museums will be generating greater value for each one of their objects, as these could be enriched by other objects, as well as for the network as a whole, allowing their objects to tell other stories in other museums. Digital technology is in fact accelerating the networking process, as an active group of museum professionals across the globe are collaborating to enable the connecting of all these objects through various metadata standard schemes. This is a monumental task, extremely labor-intensive, requiring vast resources. Conceptualizing the world's cultural and scientific wealth as a heritage information network might help explain why museum objects are not optimally consumed, not even online. We could argue that consumers are unable to reap the benefits of the heritage information network because the network is too small. That means there are not enough objects or not enough stories interconnected. That is known as market failure. For this, government intervention will compensate the suboptimality. But what if there are no subsidies available? It is a matter of adding information to a public network. This is a public good, which anybody can enjoy without having to pay for it. This gives no incentive to invest in its development. This is known as the free riding problem. Further, benefits from consumption are far greater than the expense related to the documentation of collections to interlink objects or the research costs related to developing the stories. This is what is referred to as externalities. You could say that our common cultural and scientific heritage provides the base and structure to define our present and future, being an inspiration for innovative creations, a resource for learning and development, a representation of ideals for identity forming, and many other things. Such benefits are hard to represent in monetary terms and can be considered far more valuable than the cost of cleaning, caring, researching, and documenting any museum object. This takes me to the socially constructed commons. The work museums are doing is to create the story of our past by linking objects and stories that in fact belong to us all, by building a cultural and scientific heritage information network. Some museums are inviting the crowd, like you and me, to share stories and objects to enrich the growing network which we can access and benefit from. This heritage information network is a socially constructed common because it is a non-excludable good. It is of us all, but it is rival of our attention. Too much attention of one story leads to the demise of other stories. Museums like the Caterina Convent collect, preserve, and communicate a variety of parallel views to explain the world, currently through stories about miracles. This was the video on socially constructed commons. Thank you for watching. You now know why your contribution for the common wealth of culture and scientific knowledge is so important. A list of references relevant to this topic are available at the end of this video.